Hey y'all, hey. Peace, peace, peace. Let's see. Get this good background. Turn this light on. There we go. All right. It's your girl, Morgan Renee Myers, aka Farmer Mo, tuned in with you, child. I ain't read to y'all about a month of Sundays, literally and figuratively. I don't know what it... Time management, I don't have no excuse. And I'm just going to hop right into it. I've been in this book damn near since... I really feel like I've been in it since May. I really feel like if you go on my story time or more on my Instagram page and every flyer that I've posted, it's been like a month between each one. So we're in chapter 17. I don't recall everything that was going on, but I'm just going to read through it so we can get over it and get to some other books that I want to delve into. Centered Trading Your Plans for a Life That Matters by Jason Brown, who is a former NFL player turned farmer out here. There's another young lady named Raven Brooks who has a book out called In a Word of Consciousness. It's a poetry book, and I want to share it. It's so many other books that I want to read to you all. I want to delve back into my own personal book and do like some study and talkbacks with the people. But let's get through The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Souljah. We on chapter 17, and it reads as so. Sunshine, heat, and palm trees. A dramatic departure from my life 12 hours ago. To say I was gassed would not be enough. It wasn't so much the scenery, although I seen 100 types of trees I never seen before. It was the balls of the whole thing. This is the type of life I saw myself having, leaving town with no permission, warning, or limitations. This whole matter was what made Bullet so damn sexy to me at that moment. He was making the rules, maybe even breaking the rules. He was the shot caller, a man who can only react to life. Hold on. A man who can only react to life could never have me. A man with excuses about why he couldn't make anything happen his way, only win pity, but never respect. The airport limo delivered us to our Key West, Florida villa. The beach was a short walk away. The most noticeable thing about the villa was that everything inside was white and clean. No dingy color, not eggshell, not cream colored, but a crisp white, seemingly freshly painted place with ceramic tiled floors. We only explored the villa once over for about 10 minutes. Next thing I know, a driver was taking us shopping. Now, Bullet was obviously the one with the money, but he didn't push hard. He asked me where I wanted to shop. He walked patiently behind me as I led the way through the most fashionable departments. When I tried things on, he sat inside the dressing room despite the store attendant's objections and commented on every piece of clothing I modeled. The crazy thing is, he never had nothing bad to say about anything I selected. That's it right there. That's the bomb, baby. You wearing that dress. Look at those sweet thighs. 10 perfect toes. Now when have anybody seen that before? So I stretched things a little, was aware of how I stood, was stylish about undressing, and did seductive things to keep him in the palm of my hand where he appeared to be. We ate dinner in a little Cuban restaurant. It wasn't expensive. It wasn't an expensive looking place. In fact, it was more like a huge kitchen in someone's house. It didn't have a vibe like a business, but the food was mad good. I was surrounded by young Cuban waiters who served me hand and foot. More than 2 of them waiters was giving Bullet props for having a fine woman. La Morena, they called me. One of the guys started talking Cuban to me, or Spanish, or whatever it was. He apologized when he realized I couldn't speak it and explained to Bullet that I looked Cuban because of my skin, dark eyes, and hair. Unlike the jealous rage I expected to see in Bullet, he smiled, pretty teeth all exposed, like the proud holder of a $50 million lotto ticket. Now, I don't know what they put in that food besides a half pound of garlic, but they must have done some kind of voodoo on me because it made me all warm inside and real horny. Girl, Winter, shut up. The food made you all... Shut up, girl. Even my chest was warm and my titties felt bigger than normal and extra sensitive. She's so dramatic. When the feeling of my own titties rubbing against the cloth of my own shirt turned me on, I knew it was time to get back to the villa. We didn't have much to say. We understood each other. After bags were put away, he handed me a glass of champagne. We got nice. As the CD player pumped R. Kelly, Bullet began to tongue me slow and sensuously. I ain't no punk, so I tongued him back, sucking his lips and chin. He kissed me with his eyes open and kept the lights on the way that I prefer it. He unfastened my hair tie, my hair fell down. He put his hands all through my hair like he was tossing a salad. "This is all you?" he commented, because I didn't have no weave. The way he was all up in my head, if my hair would have been fake, his fingers would have been all jammed in the strings, glue, or whatever. As he licked my collarbone, both hands exploring my shoulders and breasts, he said in a low, sexual voice, "You have the softest skin I ever touched." It was live to see my rough neck turn into a house cat. Easing me out of my blouse and unstrapping my bra, he laid my back on the cold ceramic tile and my nipples puffed up and out. Undressing me totally, the cold floor sent a sensation all over my body. "Your pussy smells good," he said as he buried his face in it and allowed 2 butterscotch lifesavers he had gotten from me to go inside of... What? To go inside of me while his tongue searched for them and sucked them out. Girl, you gonna get a damn yeast infection. You don't put no candy in your coochie? I think she's still, oh God, I think she's only 17 at the point that she's telling this story. Lord have mercy, Winter. I might have to take this damn head itching a little bit. I'm about to get my hair done tomorrow. I'm about to be cute. Alright, so... What? Undressing me totally, the cold floor sent a sensation all over my body. "Your pussy smells good," he said as he buried his face in it and allowed 2 butterscotch lifesavers he had gotten from me to go inside of me while his tongue searched for them and sucked them out. Ew. By the time he found and got control of the melted candy, I had come twice. I couldn't control my shouting. Getting eaten out always made me crazy. My moaning had him harder than the U.S. Steel, so I wrestled him over and mounted him. I tried to ride him like a prize jockey, but he wanted to dominate. Second later, I was butt up, face down, and we doggy styled until my whole butt was filled with warm semen. Sister Souljah, what the hell is she writing about? Let me take this hair wrap off. Hold on, I need a second to breathe. I don't remember reading this when I was younger. I thought I read the book, but I don't remember reading all that. Ooh, child. All right. Sorry, y'all. My bad. This too much. All right. So, seconds later, I was butt up, face down, and we doggy style until my whole butt was filled with warm semen. In the air-conditioned villa we seated, our black bodies were pressed against the white towel. As the CD player played itself over again, I thought about how it couldn't be any better than this. A man, a solid man with loot and a luscious big dick, a champion pussy eater, and he was dedicated to my desire. I waited for someone to wake me up, but no one ever did. In the morning, we went straight to the beach. My new bikini was killing every onlooker. However, there was only a sprinkle of people out this early. Bully wasn't trying to teach me how to swim in the warm, clear ocean water. As I fumbled, he patiently corrected me. Oh, Bullet was trying to teach me how to swim in the warm, clear ocean water. As I fumbled, he patiently corrected me. He tried to teach me to do the easy stuff first, like what he called the doggy paddle. He even attempted to show me how to float on my back. As my body would tense up, it would sink to the bottom. He would pull me up, holding my wet body against his chest. We were face to face as he said, "You see, the reason why you can't float is because you're not relaxed in the water. The reason why you're not relaxed is because you don't trust me. You gotta trust me. I'm not gonna let you down. I would never hurt you." He laid me back down and talked me into a state of relaxation. After an hour or so, I could float and doggy paddle, but still, I was no swimmer. "Don't worry, sexy. You'll get the hang of it after a while. I'll teach you all the tricks. You won't be able to say I didn't teach you something your father didn't already teach you." Now, he might as well have hit me in the head with a brick. My body tensed up. Trying to run out of water, I felt as though my body was going in slow motion. He caught me on the sand a couple of feet from the water. Winter, Winter, what's up? What's the matter? Why you flipping? My anger took a jump on me and my mouth just started going. Midnight told me you was my father's enemy. That makes you my enemy. Don't even fucking mention my father. You keep his name out your mouth. Okay, if he's so much her enemy, why she doing all this stuff with him? Now she... Girl, bye. This the dramatics for me. My chest was heaving in and out. My titties were easing out of my bikini top against my permission. I thought you understood business, Winter. I ain't got nothing against your father. I got mad respects for your pops. Your pops is my motherfucking hero. I'm trying to be a part of a world he's built. I'm trying to be a part of the world he built. I know you were part of the takeover. You think I'm stupid? I know what happened. How you know what happened when you wasn't even there? I didn't see you for months. I was there. Hell, your pops wasn't even there half the time. I was in the thick of it from the beginning to the end. A true soldier. What happened was business. It was bigger than your pops. If your pops wasn't who he is, it still would have happened. That's how big it was. Winter, I want you to see I want me and you to have an understanding. I got mad love for you. You know how much money a nigga's losing just being out here with you for 3 days? Mad money. Now, I got cats moving shit for me, but everybody know the money ain't gonna be all the way straight unless you there right on top of it watching it. I brought you out here because I know you a classy woman, top of the line. I know you was used to the best because I seen how Santiago treated you. I knew I couldn't just throw you a pair of 10-karat gold earrings and take you up to the played out Poconos. I had to let you see that I know you special. This ain't about ass. I can get plenty of ass. I got bitches lined up around the corner. It's about quality and style. It take 40 in them bitches to make one of you. They all glued together, fake hair, fake nails, fake clothes, high mileage. They ain't been raised right, so they always running their mouths too much, exposing a nigga's business, bringing a nigga down. Now you, on the other hand, you know how to act. You know how to keep your mouth shut and hold a nigga down. You proved that. You proved and tested. On a bad day, you still got to be the finest bitch in the world. You know what to wear and when to wear it. You came up in the family first. You got training. That's what I'm talking about. I'm a family man. I have to be able to concentrate. I learned that watching Santiago. Too many bitches coming in and out. Next thing you know, your whole shit is falling apart. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, I checked for that, I said coolly. Inside, I'm like, hell yeah. He gave me enough compliments to last me 6 months. But I was still curious, so I asked, so what really happened? Shaking his head from left to right, he said, man, it's a complicated story. Are you saying you don't think I can follow the story? Or are you saying you want me to trust you, but you don't want me to know what's happening around me? See, that's what I like. You got mad smarts. Bullet picked up a stick that washed in with the tide. Not only was he going to tell me the story, he was drawing a picture in the moist sand. This is me, he said, pointing to a small stick figure. No mother, no father. They was both killed. My father was killed by the police when I was 4. My mother was killed by her boyfriend when I was 6. I got 2 relatives, my half-brother Bryce, who lived in D.C. with foster parents, and Granny. I was raised by Granny from 7 years old up right there in them Brooklyn projects. You seen Granny around our way? She was a good woman, but she got a little gambling problem. She was collecting welfare for me and blowing it all at the lotto machine. After a while, she elevated to every weekend. Bus trips to Atlantic City. A nigga didn't have nothing. No food. Forget clothes. You saw me, you, and your little girlfriends chit-chatting. At 8 years old, I started earning enough. Wait a minute. Let me go back. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh, I gotta wash my hair. So he said, after a while, she elevated to every weekend. Bus trips to Atlantic City. A nigga didn't have nothing. No food. Forget clothes. You saw me and your little girlfriends chit-chatting. What? That don't make sense. Forget clothes. You saw me, you, and your little girlfriends chit-chatting. At 8 years old, I started earning my own dough. I was a lookout for rings. Now, rings had me watching the block. All I had to do was sit on the bench and clock everything and everybody. I had a Mickey Mouse watch Rings gave me. I knew when everybody left and came, who worked, who didn't. I knew when people got checks, new furniture, whatever. Back when the building had buzzers. All I had to do was stand by the wall and press the buzzer to let Rings know when someone was coming up into an apartment he was in. Or I pressed the buzzer to let him know 5-0 was on the way up. Man, a lot of people had no love for Rings, including your father. Everybody considered him a thief. He was a thief, but I thank him to this day, may he rest in peace, because nobody took the time to teach me nothing. Reams did. He taught me patience. You had to have patience to sit there hour after hour, day after day. That's how I peeped you, watching you every day from the bench. You always stood out like a diamond, but Santiago protected you like a diamond. I sit right there in my fucked up clothes, snot running down my nose, unable to run upstairs to get a tissue, scared to miss a beat. I said to myself, I'm going to get her. She's going to be mine. I knew to get into your world, I have to work like a dog, scheme like a motherfucker. Hell, nobody was going to just let me get down just like that. I was already an outcast because I worked for Rings. I ain't had no family, no connections. So I started to watch Santiago. He was my hero. He had the respect. There was something so smooth about that nigga. Even before he became boss, he was like a politician, all dressed up like every day was an occasion. Everybody liked his way of talking. I always thought he was able to connect with the big whites because he was light-skinned with that good hair. Them same cops he had on payroll doing business with him was the ones that would beat a brown nigga like me with no mercy. Now, when Santiago connected with Captain Chula at the precinct, it pulled the heat off a lot of niggas around our way. They loved him for that. I watched the block so close, so long, I knew all the police routines. I knew when a patrol car was coming around, which cop would be riding in, and when the shifts changed, everything. I could almost read the badge numbers. I watched them so close. I knew who was getting payoffs, who wasn't. I mean, there may have been more cops on the payroll than I knew about, but a lot of them dudes I watched knew it was going down. Santiago made use of most niggas in the hood. He knew how to make everybody feel good. He gave every man a purpose. Some money for their pockets, money for their families. But some niggas he shut down, like Rings, who he had no respect for, and a few of the independent dealers, and stacking them, the stick-up kids. There wasn't nothing they could do about it, though, because he had it all hemmed up. He was making it possible for so many cats to get paid that any bad talk against him was not only bad for the person's business, it was bad for their health. Next thing you know, you might turn up disappeared. About a year and a half ago, right before your family left the area, there was a crew of young heads, 13 to 16-year-olds. In a surprise attack, they stuck up one of your pop spots, got away with mad cheese. Word went out on the streets that Santiago got stuck up by some kids. At the same time, Captain Chula retired. It was unexpected, but that old fuck caught a stroke. Rudolph became DA. He started up some campaign about cleaning up the drugs in the hood and busting crooked cops. On the streets, the DA's office started recruiting informants. Any available $2 niggas signed on as a snitch with Rudolph. Meanwhile, the crooked cops panicked, tried to cover up their tracks. They started supplying protection, guns, and ammunition to the young heads, even though they were still cops on Santiago's payroll. They made it appear to the DA that there was a war between the young heads and Santiago, but without police backing, the young heads couldn't have gone head up in a war with Santiago. Your pops got paranoid and started strong-arming niggas. He was even twisting arms of niggas who was loyal to him, niggas who would have killed for him, niggas who would have died for him. Without Captain Chula at the helm coordinating the cops on the inside, it was hard for Santiago to know who was who. Plus, in the shake-up, there was just too many new faces. The cops started busting more of Santiago's men, but they went easy on the young heads. When Santiago moved your family out there to Long Island, there was no way for him to see how the pieces were moving. The pieces were moving too fast. Some of Santiago's men who got busted wasn't cool with him moving out the hood. They looked to him like he jumped ship. With Chula out and Randolph in, some of Santiago's other connections dried up. Even money couldn't get none of his men out of the pen. But I could dig it. Santiago had to move. Them young heads was ruthless. They was hitting whole families, players and non-players. They even 86 KK and butter. Miss Sonia's babies? Yeah. Her man got in the way, so they sent him a message. 2 corpses, heads off. 1 3-year-old, 1 4-year-old dead. But I gotta give Santiago credit. He held it down for a long time. But with the police behind the young heads, it was only a matter of time before they wiped Santiago out. When the cops working with the DA applied pressure on niggas in Santiago's crew, they started telling on each other. Once 1 or 2 started talking, then there was a chorus of singers. Everybody was trying to cut a deal with the police, say their own tales. What about my mother? Who shot her? She caught a bad one, but the niggas who did that is dead. They said that one. Hold on. She caught a bad one, but the niggas who did that is dead. They said that was one trigger Santiago pulled himself. So what's up now? The same fucking cops get a bigger cut of the business now than they did when Santiago ran shit. They got the young heads working on a 70 30 split their favor. The shit is crazy. Plus, they got their hands in even more areas than they had before. So the top dudes and the young heads is now trying to squeeze out the small niggas and the young heads, the ones who did the bloody work, the dicing, the slicing, the soldiers. So niggas is breaking off trying to do their own thing. Little businesses springing up here and there, you know. And what about you? Where do you fit in the story? The young heads? That's not the name of your crew, is it? Captain Chula, that's not his real name either, is it? Bullet smiled. Damn, you smart. It was easy to figure. Why would you tell me all this? I am Santiago's daughter. I could tell him everything you said. Bullet hung his head between his legs and mumbled, "It wouldn't matter. Santiago's finished. He's a legend, but he's out of business. He's charged with everything. He even killed 2 niggas in the pen. He'll get life 4 times over." "He hasn't been convicted of nothing yet," I defended him. "So what do you want from me?" I asked Bullet with tears for daddy in my eyes. I just want to put you back where you belong, on top. I just want to be a man from when I was broke on the bench." He smiled a seductive smile, almost as if he was popping the question. "One more thing, the young heads, that's the fake name for you. Slick kid in them, ain't it?" "Who, me?" He smiled. "I'm just a lookout. Seriously, I got me a little side hustle that turned mad big for me. I hook up all the hip-hop stars with what they need, like a private doctor who's on call. I got a couple of other businesses brewing. I'm about to close out business with the young heads. Niggas is too shady. They always talking about we. They call us the family, but the dividends don't spread around the family like they should. They don't want to bless the real soldier, so I'm about to relocate." "Oh, and bounce on me?" My attitude reignited. "Never that. When we get home, you just let me know where you want to rest at. We'll get an apartment however you want it. But I gotta be able to trust you. That's the main thing. I almost killed that bitch Souljah. I could have lost everything. I could have lost everything I have now killing some lunatic bitch who lied about being pregnant with my kid. I don't want to chase behind no chick playing detective. You understand me?" "I checked for that," I reassured him. The next 2 days or so in Key West, Florida was more than cool. Bullet concentrated on learning me, my likes and dislikes. He said he was going to ask me about my past because he expects every woman to lie about what she done, no matter how small it is. He made it clear over and over that everything between us starts now, today, and you belong to me from here on in. The penalty for betrayal is death, he said with the seriousness of the cancer disease. If I catch you lying to me about anything, no matter how small, the penalty is pain. I don't know what he was so uptight about. His dick was good and his dollars were long. I had no reason to complain, leave, or cheat. There was only one thing that wasn't open and straight with him. I told him I needed to find out where my father was locked up at. He got quiet for a while as if he knew the spot, then promised with as few words as possible to help me locate him. It can't be that hard. He's locked down. Now I thought about it a minute and decided maybe Bullet thought my father would be against us being together. I wasn't planning to tell Pops about me and Bullet. I just needed to see Pops to make sure he was straight, stack up his commissary, and let him know I'm still his number one and he's still mine. I didn't push it with Bullet. As far as me finding my father goes, it was non-negotiable. Hell, Pops had put 17 years of loving and taking care of Winter. That's 16 years and 361 days more than Bullet put in. As we lay on the bed in our undies, kicking our feet up, munching popcorn and watching old movies on the rented VCR, Cooley High brought back memories of our kittyhood in Brooklyn. It was odd that me and Bullet grew up in the same place yet had different childhoods. He was telling me grungy survival stories. My stories was mostly funny. An icy cold fell over me in the villa on our last night when our reminiscing revealed what was happening now in the place I used to love, Brooklyn, but wouldn't be caught alive in anymore. It was Bullet who brought up Simone's name. "Yeah, that crazy bitch got pregnant. She got big as a house. She went to the hospital to have her baby and came back home empty-handed. Nobody wanted to ask her mean ass what happened." As Bullet continued talking, I didn't ask him no follow-up questions on the Simone issue. It was clear that he had no idea that me and her had beef. "I don't want to get an apartment in Brooklyn," I told Bullet calmly. "Oh, you too big for Brooklyn now?" "Nah, nothing like that. I just ain't cool with a lot of them chicks and I don't need no static." "You ain't gotta have no problems. I'm holding you down now." "I was thinking lower Manhattan by the water," I told him. "That dirty ass water," he said. I cut my eyes at him. "It's cool if that's what you want. I could use a little hideaway with an exclusive parking space with my name on it." "Yeah, and a doorman, maybe a butler, some shit like that," he said, and we both laughed. Driving in from the airport, Bullet headed straight to Brooklyn. As the wheels turned slightly, because I couldn't feel no bumps, I became angry and nervous. I told his ass I didn't want to stay in Brooklyn. When we got so close to my old spot that it was indisputable where we was going, I asked softly, suppressing my emotion, "What are we doing here?" "I want you to see where I rest at." Getting loud, I said anxiously, "I already know where you rest at." Bullet smiled and said, "Look, sexy, it's been a long time. I'm not in the same spot. I'm one flight up from Granny. I couldn't have her making best with my money." He peeped my reluctance. "Look, tomorrow after I handle my business, we can bounce to find the crib you wanted. Ain't nothing open tonight nohow." I didn't move out of the car. "Oh," he laughed, "them bitches got you shook?" Couldn't be. Not went to Santiago." "Nah, I ain't shook. I just don't like being caught off guard." Bullet pushed a button in between the driver's seat and the emergency brakes. The brown, hard covering on the island separating the driver's chair from the passenger chair opened. "You tell me what you need. Whatever it is, I got it." As I peered down into the hidden wheel, I saw a Glock, a 9mm, a 22, and a 4-pound staring me dead in my eye. Bullet said, "Now, if this nigga can't make you feel safe, you choose what you need. I told you, times change." Stepping out of his Lexus coupe, I figured if I ever wanted to come back to Brooklyn, this is the way it should be, in style. It was evening time. For some reason, everything in the neighborhood looked smaller than I remembered it being, and maybe even a little dirtier. I saw some familiar faces, or maybe I should say they saw me, but I didn't see Natalie, Simone, none of my girls, or my aunts. I wasn't surprised not to see them. People had a tendency to stay inside during the winter. Now, if it was summertime, there would be more people than roaches. Crackheads were running up begging to wash Bullet's whip that had collected dust in the airport lot. Bullet's man popped up like he was the fucking valet parking. Bullet dropped the keys in his hand and he jetted off around the back. His apartment was definitely a man's place. It had the necessities: a big screen TV, PlayStation, CD player, sneakers, magazines, beer cans, weed, reefer roaches in the ashtrays, a dirty bathroom, no toilet paper, and nothing in the refrigerator. But it was secure. Like Santiago, Bullet had a double security door with a crack slot in the outside door about 2 inches wide and 4 inches long. A thick metal sheet could block the slot, or it could be slid open from the inside. On the table where dinner should be eaten, there was Bullet's little chemistry laboratory. I made a note of that because Santiago would have never had it there in the open like that, even with 2 metal security doors, but Bullet was a bachelor. We wasn't in the crib 30 minutes before Bullet had to step out. All hyper like. He said he couldn't wait until tomorrow to collect his shit. It was the time of month where dumb niggas was about to be low on dough. He had to round up his boys. He tossed me the 22 and said, "Here, hold this. I'll be right back. Don't answer the door no matter what. Don't even fuck with the phone." When I twisted my lips at him, he responded, "It's business. They can all wait till I come back. Till then, nobody's home." Within minutes, I heard knocking at the door. They would come, then they would go away. To drown out the sound of the knocking, I flipped on the radio, then the TV. When I remembered nobody was supposed to be home, I turned them both off. I started checking everything Bullet had. Don't ask me why. I just figured I had a right to. I was looking under the beds, in the closet, in drawers. Any pieces of paper I found laying around, I read. In a matter of minutes, I found 5 Timberland boxes filled with cash. One was filled with $1 bills, one with 10s, one with 20s, one with 50s, one with 100s. I put everything back the exact way I remember finding it. I didn't lift one bill. That's surprising because she is known to steal some damn money. Tapping my nails on the table, I had only been in there 1 hour and I was being tortured by boredom. Another knock at the door. The knock soon turned into a scratch. The scratch turned into a screech. Disobeying orders because I was never one to follow, I opened the first door and stood in the darkness between the two. Placing my ear on the cold metal door, I listened for a voice. I heard what sounded like moaning. Come on, I'm sorry. Where you been? I need something now." The words were coming out like a whining child. Oh, it's her mama, ain't it? The screeching was louder now, too. I slid the heavy metal slot back an inch to see where the screeching was coming from. The thin lady was hunched over, scratching the door with 2 keys. Hearing the slot open slightly, the lady raised on her tiptoes and stuck her face to the slot. She was so close up I could only see her one bloodshot, tired eye. I don't know if she was rocking on her toes or what, but small sections of her face, the left eye, the right eye, her nose, a piece of her hairline, were falling to my 1-inch view and out again. When she stuck her 2-tooth mouth in the slot, I saw the scar, the twisted position. The 90-pound crackhead at the door was my mother. I knew it. Give me something. I got this." She tried to stick a face. "I got this." She tried to stick a fake gold chain to the slide. With my finger, I pushed it out and slammed the metal slide. With my back now against the door, I slid down to my knees, then doubled over. What you doing up here? What the fuck you doing up here? I told you to stop coming to my crib. I heard Bullet yelling in the hallway. Where you been? I've been looking for you, her voice said. You got no more credit with me, he said in a lowered voice. Now get out of here. Quickly, I opened the door, closed it gently, then turned the lock. I heard her begging, but it turned into silence when I closed the last door. Bullock stuck the key in the first door, then the second. He looked at me sitting coolly in the chair. I erased all traces from my facial expression of what I had seen. You didn't open the door, did you? Nah, I said with no emotion at all. He went in the kitchen, opened the cabinet, pulled out a cookie jar, and took out a vial of crack. You with me? He asked, testing my loyalty for the umpteenth time. I nodded yes. Here, slide this out and pass it off so I can get this crackhead off my dick. So I did. To your mother? Wow. I'm going to go ahead and read 18. Get it out the way. Yep. Chapter 18. The next day, I was perched. What time frame is this? I could track. Okay. The next day, I was perched in the window at Bullet's 6th floor apartment. It was as though I was sitting on top of the hood. I could see everyone as I peeked through the blanket he used for curtains, but no one could see me. Bullet got out early that morning. He left me the keys for the house, but I don't know why he bothered. I wasn't going anywhere until he got back. Bullet shot through the door when darkness fell. I was so vexed there was no reason to speak. Not to mention that with nothing in his refrigerator, I was starving. Ignoring my attitude, he glided across the floor, slapped me on my ass, and said, "Hey, I got something for you." When I didn't respond, he threw the money on the bed. Wrapped in rubber bands, there were 3 stacks of bills. 2 of the thickest stacks were all hundreds. One of the stacks was all 50s. Picking up each stack individually and flicking them from the top bill down to the bottom bill, I arrived at an estimate the way Daddy taught me to do. I figured there was about $20,000 here. Where the fuck did you get this? I asked, knowing full well that no crackheads were walking around with large bills. I'm a businessman, baby. I told you I make moves. Leather sofas and color TVs cost money. He smiled so sweet I forgave him instantly. Since then he broke through my wall of anger. He jumped on top of me and started kissing me all over my face. Yeah, I know how to make it hot for you, his rough, conceited ass said, and I loved it. After I got all excited about the loot, I noticed he packed it all away as if he never thrown it at me. First thing the next morning, his man pulled Bullet's Lex around the corner. Handling Bullet his keys, he was so busy staring at me in my fine winter wool Benton mini dress and matching jacket that he missed Bullet's hand and dropped the keys in the street. As he bent down to get the keys, Bullet slapped him in the head on the way up. The next man, Bones, who was in the passenger seat, laughed that he got chumped, but Bones was staring at me too. I peeped that. We rode into the city in bumper-to-bumper traffic. I convinced Bullet that it would be easier for him to let me get the newspapers from the stand and travel to the apartments for rent by train. He paused before he agreed and looked into my eyes like he expected to find something. He handed me a stack of dough, then snatched it back before my fingers closed it. Just beat me when you find something. I'll meet you with the money. Yeah, I said dryly. This nigga just can't relax. It was almost 6 p.m. when I found a place. Instead of overlooking the river, it overlooked the FDR highway that was beside the river. It was located on the east side in the 30s block. There was a doorman, but no butler. The place was spacious, with large windows. I knew I could freak the layout with all kinds of designs. The important factor was that the greedy man renting an apartment was easy to work with. He was the first landlord I met who understood to mind his business. He wanted cash. I wanted the keys. I figured he needed the loot to feed a nasty cocaine habit. He sniffed all the way through the 12-minute interview. Besides, the tip of his nostril was eating away from the drug. I had seen that effect before. Now, when he started babbling about how I could pick up the keys next week, he had to have the apartment clean. I threw him another $300 to get the keys on the spot. He grimaced when I told him I needed 1 hour for my boyfriend to bring me all the dough. I don't know if he was mad that he had to wait 60 minutes or mad that I had a man. Magazines were spread out all over the living room floor in the big empty apartment. I took my time reviewing each magazine design ad, selecting an item from each ad I admired. I pieced together a collage of a one-bedroom apartment that was perfect for me. Bullet, who was out concentrating on what he described as the biggest movie of his lifetime, had agreed that whatever I wanted was good for him. His only request was for me to leave the huge walk-in closet for his private use. Initially, I was cool with the amount of time he spent away from home. Decorating was taking up all of my energy anyhow, but Bullet was slowing down with decorating with his lack of trust. Was slowing down my decorating with his lack of trust. But Bullet was... every time I went to purchase something, I had to wait for him to have free time to go with me to each store so he could pay the cashier directly. It was clear to me that he wasn't going to let my hands feel no dough. Half the time, I had to go to each individual store to locate whatever item I wanted. I keep the items on the shopping list. At the miraculous moment when Bullet had a few hours available, we pick up each thing I wanted one by one. I tried having pieces of furniture delivered. I even had to schedule that around Bullet, who didn't want no delivery man sliding around my crib while I'm not home. He even conveniently struck up a relationship with the doorman, passing him 20s and 50s for whatever favor he needed. After a while, I started to think one of the doorman's assignment was to watch me come and go. I figured it would only be a matter of time before Bullet would see that I was down for whatever. Not only could I decorate the joint and order up delicious dinners for two, but I'm a businesswoman who could easily be at least half of the team. But I was swift. Daddy taught me how to think my way through and work around certain people to achieve the same results. The first thing I did was lease the apartment in my name. He handed the money to the designated person in each transaction, but I signed off every time. As soon as we moved in, I filled out all my credit card applications and mailed them away. One day soon, I get one or two cards in the mail and use them to walk out the store with whatever I selected. If Bullet took too long to include me in his business plans or left me home with too much time to think, I could easily see myself cooking up my own little hustle. He must have been reading my mind. More than a month had passed. I completed my decorating project and had the place looking picture perfect. No one could front. Our spot was fatter than the designs in the magazine ad. Not only was everything top quality, it was elegant, a smart use of the space, and had flavor and attitude. I was just sitting on the white leather sofa, listening to a little Mary J. Blige when his key slid in the front door earlier than usual. Busting in with speed and urgency, he picked me up and spun me around. "What got you all gassed up?" I quipped. "I'm almost there. Everything is good. Trust me." With my face close to his face, I responded, "Should I trust you like you trust me?" He busted a smile. "Ha, smart tongue. Get dressed. We're going to a party." He flung open my closet and said, "It's a triple date. You got to look your best. Here." He flung a box onto the sofa. Excited like I used to be when I was just a little girl, I ripped open the wrapping paper and pulled out a brand new diamond bezel lady Rolex. I started jumping up and down until I pounced right on top of him. "Thank you, Daddy." "What did you call me?" he asked, looking at me with surprise. I said, "Thanks, baby. This is the shit right here." The dinner spot was at the meetup point. After all, we agreed not to bring anybody from the old neighborhood to our new apartment. That meant nobody would know where we rest, which is how it should be. The spot was called Houston's. Dimly lit, it was a restaurant on the down low. As we sat parked outside of the place, a black Benz pulled up behind us and a blue Lamborghini Jeep behind that. As I watched through the rearview mirror, I asked Bullet, "Are there girlfriends, anybody I know?" "I doubt it," he responded. "You know what to do. Don't talk too much." "Is this business or pleasure?" I asked, sensing something. "For you, it's all pleasure." They were already seated when we stepped up. We slid into the big semicircle booth and Bullet introduced everyone. Right away, a bottle of Cristal was brought to the table. I was kind of happy to meet Tiffany and Iris. It had been a long time since I kicked it with any female friends. I wasn't under the illusion that we was girls or anything, but it was important for me to hang with females who had their own loot so I wouldn't have to deal with no jealousy and funny business. It was obvious that at least for tonight, they were rolling with two fat cats as well. After the order was placed, all three of the men politely excused themselves and left the table. We were left looking at each other. It seemed like nobody wanted to say nothing. So I'm the party starter, I thought to myself. That'd be me. "So where y'all from?" "I'm from D.C., Tiffany said. "Me, I'm from Virginia," Iris said. The way Iris hesitated, I assumed she was lying. "How about you?" Tiffany asked me. "I'm from Long Island," lifting the bottle, I said. "Well, we might as well drink this. They brought it for us. We sat there and drank the whole bottle together. Then everything loosened up. I like that dress, girl. Where did you get it? That shit is banging, Iris said to me. I knew for sure that she was from out of town, because if she was from Brooklyn, she would have never gave the compliment. Moreover, she definitely wouldn't have played herself by asking where did I get it from. Thanks. How many pieces you got in your head? What? I asked. Your hair. Oh, this is all me, I said, gesturing by pulling my hair. They both started laughing. Yeah, we all use that same line. It looks nice, though. Which one of y'all was riding in that Lamborghini? I asked. Me, Tiffany said. Is that shit comfortable? It's a lot of space in there to do whatever you want to do. It's like an army truck. Roland told me if someone was shooting at us, the bullets couldn't even get inside. That's bullshit, Iris said. When the food came up, Iris pushed her plate away. I already ate. I'm not hungry. Tiffany dipped 2 fries in the ketchup and said, that's it for me. Searching through her oversized CMC pocketbook, she finally found her lipstick. Let's go to the bathroom. I moved to let them out. Then I continued to sit there. Tiffany called to me and gestured, come on. I looked around the restaurant and saw Bullet standing in between the bar and window talking. He saw me looking but didn't say nothing. I guess it would be all right, I thought. So I got up and went with them. Iris, your titties is coming out of that bra. Tiffany helped her to adjust the straps. Everybody was touching up their hair, looking in the bathroom mirror. Iris was smoking a cigarette. Then Tiffany picked up my pocketbook. I noticed she left her bag on the sink. Tiffany, you got the wrong bag, I told her, but she kept walking toward the door. That's your bag right there, Iris said to me, pointing to the MCM bag. What the fuck? I rushed Tiffany, grabbing my bag by the strap. Iris pulled out a 9 and pointed it directly at me. Both the wind and the words left my mouth. I couldn't talk. Take that bag. It's for your man. Don't blow it. Somebody should have put you up on it in advance. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. They bounced. In the bag, I found several guns and a small bag of coke. I'm not dumb, so I caught on. I tore a small hole in the bag and tasted it. It was the real thing. I closed it up and stepped out. When I walked out, Bullet, Bryce, and Roland were seated at the table, laughing and talking like they were best friends. They had started to eat their food, each of them. Tiffany and Iris had slid themselves back into the booth. Bryce asked, ladies, is everything okay? My eyes shot over to Bullet. Our eyes locked into one another. He nodded slightly. It's all good, baby. Sit down. Now I'm thinking, no, it's not all good. This fucking bag don't match my dress. Nobody in Brooklyn rocks MCM anymore. Somebody needs to tell these down south hoes that. I wanted to be in on the business, but I didn't like being the only one who didn't know what the fuck was going on. We continued to sit casually for 5 more minutes. Money on the table, a tip to the waiter, phony hugs and kisses, and we were out. When we got outside in the cool, crisp air, I thought I seen the feds milling across the street. I recognized the whole system from the takeover of my house. Now that I understood what was going on, I could view the entire scenario clearly. With his arm draped around me, Bullet kissed my cheek and whispered in my ear, drive the car home, put the bag in my closet. He gave me a deep tongue kiss, like natural, while passing his keys into my hand. I walked to the car with no sign of strangeness. It started up and pulled out slowly. When I waved goodbye, Bullet was standing, talking to Bryce and Roland. The feds were focused on the men. I slipped right by. An hour later, Bullet walked in, all smiles, with his arms extended wide. Sexy, you did it. Without rising from the couch where I was seated, fully dressed with my shoes kicked off in front of me, I said, I thought we were going to a party. He picked up his keys. By now, he was inside the walk-in closet, checking behind me as usual. 3 minutes later, he came out with work tools in his hands. He talked to me while he put a new lock on the walk-in closet door. We are going to a party. Give me 5 minutes. Oh, you ain't going to say nothing, nigga? Nothing about what? That little scene an hour ago. You said you wanted to be in. Now you're in. Why didn't you put me up on what was going down? Because the key to success is to be natural. Everything was easy. Nobody acting strange or unusual. Them fucking feds can smell you when you're nervous. He didn't want to talk about it in the crib. He didn't want to talk about it in the car either. We picked up his man and another dude named Moose. We rode to the club with the music blasting. Real Love. I'm searching for a real love. Mary J. Blige. I love that old record. We pulled around to the back of the club. His man switched into the driver's seat, and me, Bullet, and Moose walked through the back door straight into the VIP section. Whose party is this? I asked, but I was drowned out by the music, noise, and excitement that surrounded us. Everybody in the place knew Bullet. It wasn't like Cass was excited to see him. It was like a respect thing. They acknowledged him quietly, said a few words in low tones, gave him pounds and hugs, but nobody got in his way. Asked him for the VIP passes or identification or shit like that. Moose had Bullet's back so close you think them niggas was joined at the hips. When Bullet wasn't giving somebody a pound, his hand could be found right on my waist, resting lightly on top of my ass. We found a small table in the corner of the dark. After ordering drinks, Bullet relaxed a little and began to talk to me the way he felt comfortable. In a crowded room with the music at the high point and Moose with his back to him facing the crowd like a gigantic black stop sign. When you did good. I knew you could. I've been checking your flow. I like the way you think, the way you move. So what does that mean? What do you mean, what does that mean? I'm giving you a fucking compliment. How much was it worth? How much was what worth? The guns and the powder. How much was what worth? The guns and the powder. What? $250,000? A half? You see, you getting ahead of yourself now. I did this setup tonight for you, to get you accustomed to shit. I could have pulled it off without you. I have plenty of times. You think you could just walk into this cold? You can't. They'll see you coming like a neon purple light bulb. You gotta work your way into this shit slowly. You gotta feel everybody you dealing with. You gotta feel yourself. It could be the littlest shit that gives you away. An itch on your nose, or tapping your feet, or fingers too much, or the way your eyes move. If you do this shit enough, then you get an appearance of being comfortable, at ease. Then you're natural at it, instead of looking, smelling, and walking like a suspect. I ain't new to this, Bullet, I said with mad attitude. You wasn't a player on your father's team winner. You think street smarts is inherited. He laughed. Just when I opened my mouth to say something back, Moose turned and tapped Bullet. His attention was drawn away. Now I was waiting for him to finish talking to some dude. I was thinking at the same time that I just wanted to get my hands on some loot. Not for no specific reason, except I didn't like him keeping me with no more than $20 in my pocket and a few train tokens. I wasn't asking for a cut of his product or profit, just a few $100, maybe $1,000 in my pocket so I could feel good. All right, Bullet, I'm willing to work my way in. I ain't no slouch or nothing, I reassured him. Oh, for a minute I thought you was unhappy. Don't your man get you everything you need? Don't I keep your hands heavy? He asked, pointing out my new Rolex. Don't I keep a roof on your choice over your head? Name one thing you wanted that I ain't get for you. My father's address, I said softly. Damn, Winner, what you need? What the fuck you need that I didn't get for you? What do you want? I'll get it for you. It was that second I wised up. I would never mention Santiago to Bullet again. For some reason that I wasn't getting, it was like asking about daddy was an insult to him. Now I would get to my father on my own. I wasn't trading my own smarts for Bullets. I could find my pops and stay on point with Bullet. I watched for an opening to pull it off, but this was exactly why I needed some cash flow. The wackest thing about celebrity parties is you're locked in the VIP section where nobody dances. The live party goes on outside of the VIP room, but Bullet had business in here. I should have known this was no fucking date we were on. By the time we was leaving, I felt stressed. Usually when I'm partying, I ain't feeling no pain. It was going out the back door that shit went crazy. I was walking close, but slightly in front of Bullet. Bullet was directly in front of Moose, who had his back. Some fool came walking up to me. Within seconds, I recognized him as the bodyguard who drove me home from GS's mansion. What's up, Sasha? He was directly in front of me, so I stopped walking. Besides, he was about 6'2", much taller than me and built. Do I know you? I said in a cold, flat voice. I played it off. Bullet, who was only 6 feet tall, put his hand on the cat and pushed him out of my path. You got the wrong girl, nigga. Move on, Bullet threatened. Sasha, he said again, feeling himself and testing Bullet. You don't remember me from GS's? My fucking name ain't Sasha. I tried to cut him with my words. Money, I told you move on, Bullet said with death in his eyes. Bullet's leather jacket swung open, revealing his arsenal. Moose stepped in and said, here, let me talk to you a minute, pulling the bodyguard to the side. Meanwhile, Bullet's man pulled up. Me and Bullet got in the car. Bullet gave his man the order. He parked on the opposite curb of the back entrance. I asked, what are we waiting for? Bullet, still heated, didn't answer. Bullet got out the car and signaled somebody. Next thing I know, he's outside talking to GS. Through the tinted window, I'm watching. Bullet's back was to me. I could see directly into GS's face. It didn't look like an argument. It looked like a friendly, casual conversation. Then Bullet's knuckles was knocking on the window. I pushed the button. The window came down. Winner. Slowly, I stuck my head out of the window. I want you to meet my man GS. Without smiling or nothing, I said, nice to meet you, and pulled my head back inside. I heard Bullet say, yeah, that's my girl. You never seen her before, had you? Nah, never, man, GS replied. I sighed relief. I don't know why GS covered for me, or maybe he was just protecting his own ass. There was no way he had forgotten me. I knew then that Bullet was the man. He wasn't taking no shorts, and I got to dig him for that. Moose never got back in the car that night. We dropped Bullet's man and went home. Focusing on food was never my thing. As I listened to my stomach growl the next morning, I felt a desire to eat. As I held the refrigerator door open, I couldn't decide on what I wanted. My hunger turned to nausea. My nausea turned to vomit. After hurling into the toilet, I laid on the bed, staring at the ceiling with a nasty taste in my mouth. 7 minutes of silence, then panic settled in. Immediately, I began pacing the bedroom floor. She pregnant, Lord Jesus. I ran into the kitchen to pull out the calendar. The Chinese takeout guy slid under the door. Frantically, I tried to remember the date of my last period. The problem was the numbers on the calendar didn't mean nothing to me. I couldn't even match certain incidents with corresponding dates. When I actually thought about it harder, I tried to remember the last time I bought tampons. Lachey's face popped in my head. I remember charging her $2 for one back at the House of Success, but I had blacked all that bullshit out. In jeans, with a pajama top on under my jacket, I walked to the closest pharmacy and purchased a pregnancy test. Back in the bathroom, I zoomed through the directions, placing a small cup underneath myself. I pissed on my fingers while trying to hold it. Then I pissed on the toilet. Then I pissed on the floor. Therefore, my little cup only had a droplet of piss in it. I turned to the water faucet to make myself able to pee again. I waited a half an hour and finally was able to deliver half a cup. While I waited for the little plus or minus sign to show up, I smoked a joint to calm my nerves. 3 minutes to doomsday. It turned out positive. I was pregnant. The only thing to do now was to get rid of it. After a short while, I remember hearing an abortion jingle on the radio. I couldn't recall exactly how the commercial went, but I knew if I tuned in within minutes, the ad would come on. Whenever I called, they gave me the location of the nearest clinic. A quick shower, I was dressed and on my way. It was a cloudy morning. Girls were jammed like sardines into the clinic. As I surveyed the room, it wasn't hard to figure the girls whose stomachs were not poking out yet were sure to abort after looking at the obviously pregnant idiots who decided to keep their babies. One big pregnant girl had dark purple circles beneath her eyes. I saw stretch marks on knees, titties, titty tops, and even on her elbow. Some girls were balding from their condition. I even saw swollen hands, noses, and feet. One girl's ankles were so fat it looked like elephantitis. She had her big tree trunk legs propped up on not one but 2 chairs. Meanwhile, others didn't even have nowhere to sit. Now I'm steady counting who came in first, next, and so on. I wanted to get this over with before Bullet came home that night. The girl seated next to me leaned over and asked, "Are you nervous?" "Nah," I said, keeping it brief, not wanting to invite her into conversation. "Then why are you shaking your foot like that and bumping against my chair?" As I checked myself, I realized I was tapping my foot. I got control of it immediately. I was nervous the first time I got an abortion. It turned out it didn't hurt, though. It was like 1, 2, 3, over. The girl was still talking. I didn't say nothing in response to her, but I was glad to hear once again that having an abortion doesn't hurt. Back in the day, my girls told me the same thing. Yep, I couldn't believe this girl was going to keep on going on the conversation without any participation from me. This is my 5th one. I really can't get into creams. That shit make me itch. And pills make me sick. Can't feel shit with a condom. It's easier this way. It works pretty good too. I only get knocked about once per year. Yeah, but it must be expensive, I said, allowing her to pull me in. Girl, she went to her pocket and pulled out a Medicaid card. I got an abortion credit card. In the examination room, the doctor grilled me. "Do you have a private physician?" "No." "When is the last time you had a gynecological exam?" "This is my first time." "Why? Do you have a problem with that?" I asked the doctor. "I'm asking the questions, young lady," the Indian doctor with the dots said, like I was a lowly soldier in her army. "When was your last period?" "I don't remember." "Try to remember." "I can't remember." When it was all said and done, I was 3 months pregnant or more. What do you want to do? She asked with a sickening look of concern. I want to get rid of it right now. Give me the abortion. Pulling the rubber gloves off her hands, one finger at a time, she said, not so fast. Have you given this any thought? There are options to consider. Look, on your commercials, you said it's a lady's choice. You do abortions? Now get it out. The doctor got up from the chair with the wheels on it. She went to the counter with her back toward me. I'm like, this bitch is crazy. She act like this is personal. See the nurse on the way out. She'll give you an appointment for your termination. If you wait too long, this can get real messy. What's wrong with now? I asked her. There's another doctor who performs the procedure. You'll have to schedule it with the nurse now. I went right away to the nurse. It only took me 2 minutes to talk and to convince her that I needed to be scheduled to abort tomorrow. You wouldn't want to be responsible for pushing me over the 3-month line now, would you? I challenged her. Back at the apartment, I was seated at the kitchen table. Rapid picture frames flashed through my head. I traced the baby back to Boom. It was either him or GS's asshole bodyguard. I wished it was Bullets. I knew it wasn't because I was too far along. I remember the first time me and him fucked because it was on my birthday. Images merged as I made comparisons in my mind. Boom had silky hair. Bullet had naps and a Caesar cut. Boom was yellow. Bullet is brown. Boom has hazel eyes. Bullet has brown eyes. If it was Bullet's baby, he would marry me, give me the whole world, the whole 9 yards. But if it was Boom's or the other guys, there was no way to be sure. But it's Boom's or the other guys. There was no way to be sure. I couldn't front it off, so I get it scraped out first thing tomorrow. Oh, God. What you been doing all day? Bullet's suspicious ass asked. Nothing. Did you go out? No. How come you didn't pick up the phone when I called? I was probably at the incinerator emptying the garbage. Why you didn't page me? You usually page me. I turned it around on him. I did page you, he said, staring dead in my eyes. I ain't getting no beat. Then you must have been on the subway. That's the only way you didn't get my beat. I got up, pulled my page off my side, and said, oh, damn, I need a new battery. Bullet spent the rest of the night in the walk-in closet with the door closed and locked. The 11 a.m. train to the clinic was packed. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't thinking about what was about to happen. I mean, Bullet didn't come to bed before I went to sleep, even though this gave me the opportunity to clip 300 from his coat, which he left draped over the chair. I was nervous. He didn't kiss me before he left. I didn't even hear him make a sound before he bounced. Would I be able to consider abortion without leaving a clue? These thoughts converted into new thoughts when my eyes caught the front page of the New York Daily News. The man in the trench coat sitting right across from me was reading the paper. He had it held up with both hands in front of his face. It wasn't the headline or the big picture in front. It was a bold line typed across the top of the paper. Rap star bodyguard found dead. Uh-oh, GS's bodyguard? Damn. Shit, Moose must have handled that. My eyes locked in on the sentence. I read it over and over again. Immediately, I got up. I started walking slowly through the moving, packed train car, looking left to right. I knew someone would have left a Daily News on the train after being done with it. When the train paused for a stop, some people got out. That's when I got my hands on the paper. As I suspected, there was the face of the asshole from the other night, Tony, GS's bodyguard. It was a picture I guess came from his high school days. He looked younger with a big doofy smile. His full name was written underneath the photo. I never knew his last name was Creighton. Rap star GS lost friend and bodyguard Tony Creighton, 22, who was gunned down with 3 bullets to the head. Damn. Police don't yet know the time of the incident. The body was discovered yesterday afternoon in a vacant lot located on. They had the mother of the bodyguard saying he was such a good boy. He volunteered to feed the homeless on the holidays, blah, blah, blah. People are always talking shit like that after somebody dies. Everybody gets together and start lying about how a motherfucker was all this or that. He wasn't no saint when his ass was laying up in that bed pretending to be GS that night. Fuck him. I was only concerned about one thing, myself. This abortion shit had to go smooth. I didn't want Bullet coming after me. I could get this behind me. It wasn't like I cheated on Bullet or nothing. This happened before me and him hooked up, but it didn't matter. I knew that. I just needed to get rid of it and give him no reason to suspect me of nothing. I mean, me and Bullet just clicked together. We were thick like that, business and lovers. As soon as I got to the clinic, the nurse started asking me stupid questions. Did you come here alone? Yeah, why? You got a problem with that? Did you drive or take public transportation? Why? Answer the questions, please, miss. I took the train. Okay. You'll need to take this pill. She handed me a big pill with one of those small white paper cups, the kind that are only good for one drink before they crumble. Once the procedure is completed, you'll probably feel disoriented. You cannot drive a car. You should really have a companion with you in case you don't feel well and need assistance getting home. Is there anyone you can call to pick you up? Yeah, I have a ride coming for me, I lied. She would read my chart, then look back at me. Good. You're 18. You'll need to sign these papers. After they got my promise not to sue if they accidentally killed me on the operating table, I gave them the $300. The doctor came in. It was a man. He held my hand while someone else gave me an injection. You may taste a salty solution in your mouth. It's okay. Then the machine roared. It sounded like a vacuum cleaner. What seemed like only minutes later, the machine stopped. In my head, I heard the voice of the girl from the waiting room yesterday. 1, 2, 3, over. First, everyone left the room. The nurse came in and began stuffing big pads in my middle, the kind I would never choose to wear, like diapers or something. This is to absorb the bleeding. If the heavy bleeding doesn't stop by tomorrow evening, call us immediately, but you should continue to have bloody spots. She handed me another pill and a paper cup. This is to help stop infection. She handed me a small white envelope with 6 pills in it. Take these 3 times a day for 2 days. Do not bathe. Do not engage in sexual activity for the next 4 weeks to avoid infection. You need time to heal. She left me alone in the small room. I was fine until I got down from the table to stand up. The stuff in the room was moving around like I was in space. It was hard for me to stand straight. I looked at my Rolex and the number started to float off the face. The nurse busted back into the room as I was crouched over trying to pull my pants up. Let me help you. Do you feel dizzy? Yes. This happens to some people. You don't need to worry. You will need to lie down. Has someone arrived to pick you up? No. Just as I thought. She escorted me to a different small room with a small basic bed. She helped me to lie down. Without notice, I slept. About 2 hours later, I felt a hand on my shoulder. You can go now. It should be okay. We need to use this bed for another patient right now. I felt much better. Everything was steady. I headed home. Goodness gracious. All right, I'm going to end right there. So that was chapter 17 and 18. And it's only a few chapters left. And then I will be done with this book. All right. Peace.